Yo, hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to dynamically change the currency of your dashboard based on the current rate. If you look at the interesting dashboard I have here, this dashboard looks very nice. I can switch between different countries and look at different countries' data. Maybe I click on Australia, for example. I will see the dynamic of this dashboard. I can also click on Germany. I will see how interactive this dashboard is. I can also click on, let's say, Nigeria, and then see that this dashboard is actually beautiful. But there's something missing. I want to be able to convert all these values that I have on this dashboard based on the different currencies and based on the current rate. At the end of this video, I want to be able to achieve something like this. Something that can make me easily switch between different currency. So if you look at this slicer here, you see different currency here. Now I'm showing this currency based on euro, right? And at the top here, you can see that report currently showing in euro. I can decide to switch to another country, maybe US dollar, another currency, maybe US dollar. Now you can see that all my reports are currently showing in US dollar. I can also switch to pound sterling. And now all my report is currently showing in pound sterling, right? So now this my report is a little bit dynamic, unlike what I have before that was just static to naira, right? But right now I was able to switch between one currency to another. And the beauty of this dashboard is that when I'm not selecting anything, my report will switch back to my normal, which is sales in just naira, right? And you can see at the top here, report currently showing in naira. I also have another one here that can easily make me actually spread all the currency in a table if I want to see the conversion in a full table. Something like what I can see here. So I can see something by CT, by CFA, euro, pounds, pound sterling based on what I'm selecting in my slicer. Let me switch to another country, maybe Germany, and I can see different currencies as well. Now, how do we achieve this? How are we able to go into create this? Now it's very simple. What are we going to do? I have already connected to a table from the Nigeria Stock Exchange. If you look at the table that I connected to, in my previous video, I show how to connect to that particular table called exchange rate from the Nigeria Stock Exchange. Now, if you look at this table has the rate date, the currency itself, the rate year, the rate month, the buying rate, the central rate, and the selling rate. I'm going to create, and if you look at my data model, this table is actually here, the exchange rate table. This is the table here, exchange rate table. All right, and I can actually connect this table to my model if I want to. But in this demo, I don't want to connect this table to the model. I just want to create a DAX that will look up each currency based on the recent rate and multiply my dashboard by the recent rate. Okay, so I'm going to move from this dashboard that only shows me naira into different currencies. And now let's begin. How do we do that? To do that, I'm going to write a DAX that can easily scale between different currencies. Alright, so now I'm going to rearrange this dashboard and write some measure that can actually convert my values automatically. So what I'm going to do, let me just push all these charts to the right. I'm going to push it to the right so my dashboard can accommodate a slicer to the left, just a slicer to the left, right? That's basically what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I'm pushing my dashboard, just some of my chart, I'm pushing it to the right so that my slicer can accommodate, my dashboard can accommodate just one more slicer for the currency conversion. Interesting, now I can go to my exchange rate and bring the different currency as a slicer. So I'm going to pick a slicer visual here and put currency inside that. All right, so I'm going to put currency inside there, and I will have currency slicer like this that I can use to slice my dashboard the way I want it. Currently now, when I click maybe Danish krona, did you notice that my dashboard is not changing? The values are not changing. If I click on peso, the values are not changing. If I click on pound sterling, the values of my dashboard are not changing. I need to be able to switch this between different values. That's why I'm going to create a measure that can allow this to happen. The first thing I'm going to do in my measure is to create a measure that needs to select this slicer, so that when I'm selecting this slicer, it should be able to show somewhere, something to anchor this measure. All right. So I'm going to right click on exchange rate and click on new measure. All right, so now that I have new measure, I'm going to name this measure new sales conversion. New sales conversion. New sales conversion. Basically, what I'm going to write in this measure is very simple. I'm just going to declare some variables, and I'm going to show you how those variables will work. So the first thing I need to do in DAX, right, is to first of all write a variable that selects the currency. So I'm going to type var variable, and I'm going to name this variable maybe currency selected. Currency selected. And when I'm writing in this variable, it's very simple. I'm just using the selected value, right? You notice that during most of my videos on dynamic dashboard, I've been using selected value a lot, and that's because selected value is very efficient when you are making your dashboard very dynamic. Now, I'm going to use selected value to select a currency. Now I'm picking currency from the currency exchange rate table. All right. So selected value, anytime somebody select an exchange rate, right? And that's going to be my selected value. That's the first variable I'm declaring. All right. And remember, I also said that I want the sales to be multiplied by the recent rates, right? That's the latest rate as at today. In my previous video, I showed you how to currently use a DAX to set your value to most recent date, right? And that's the same thing I want to do here. I'm also declaring another variable called let me say rate recent date or something. Recent rate date. All right, that's the variable that I want to declare. And which measure am I using here? Which DAX? I'm using max to select the maximum date from my currency table. To select the maximum date from my currency table. All right, so I'm going to pick max, and I'll pick rate date inside my max. Exchange rate date. Right now, look at my rate date from my exchange rate table and pick the maximum rate date. That's the second variable I'm declaring. This new variable is going to check my exchange rate and look at the maximum date. That is the most recent date. That is what I would like to convert my dashboard by. Now, it's just a simple variable that will actually look up the actual rates. What I selected before was just a currency. That was the first variable. The second variable is selecting a date. Now, the third variable is going to look at my exchange rate table and look up the currency that was selected in the recent date and give me the exchange rate value. For some of us that are familiar with VLOOKUP in Excel very well, this is actually similar to that. I'm just trying to do a lookup. That's what I'm trying to do. And the best DAX that can allow you to do that is something called lookup in DAX, right? I'm still going to record a video about lookup that can give you more intensive understanding about lookup, but I'm going to use lookup in this variable. So I'll write another variable, and I'll call this variable recent rates. Recent rate, right? That's what I'm going to call this variable. And I will use this powerful DAX measure called lookup value, right? So I'm going to type lookup value. If you look up lookup value description simply means that it will retrieve a value from a table. That is what a lookup value means, right? Just to retrieve a value from a table. I'm going to pick that. Now, if you look at the lookup argument, lookup is asking for a result column. Then once you have a result column, I want a search column name and the search value, right? So what this simply means is that the first argument you are going to supply to lookup value is what you want to return, right? What you want to return. That is your result column. The second argument is the search column. You can search more than one using the lookup, right? It's the search column. Which column are you searching for, and what are you searching inside that column? If you look at my currency table, which is my exchange rate table, what I would like to return for this particular measure is the exchange rate itself. That is the central rate, right? Which is the central rate that I have here, central rate from the exchange rate table, because that's the main rate. That is what I would like to return. Now, once you return central rate, what are you searching? What are you using to match these two tables together? Okay, so I'm searching for the first column. I'm searching for the currency column. Look at the currency column, right? So I'm going to type currency column. This currency column, I want to look at the currency column from the exchange rate table. And what am I looking at in the currency column? I am looking at the selected value. Remember, I have a variable here that shows the currency that was selected. Now, I want to look up the currency that was selected from the exchange rate table. So I'm going to type my variable here. I will just type currency selected, right? That's my variable. I put a comma again. I also have another thing I want to search. Remember, I said I'm not just converting the currency. I want to convert the currency based on the recent date, right? So I'm also going to look up for the recent date in the table. So it's going to pick the value for the recent date. I also want to search the rate date from my exchange rate table, the rate date. And what am I searching for? I'm also searching for the recent date variable. Look at the variable I have here. The variable I have here, the recent date variable, right? So I'm going to put recent rate here, recent rate date here, right? I'm searching for the recent rate date. The recent rate date. So my lookup is doing return the central rate for me. Once you can look at the currency that was selected in the currency column and also the recent date in the currency column. And that is what my lookup is going to return. All right. Once I'm done with this lookup, I can actually close my bracket. I can close my bracket. I'm done with the loop. Show you the value that this lookup is going to return now before we move further. In fact, let me show you that. What is lookup is going to return? Let me just return. Let me return the rate. Let's look at what the rate is going to return. Let me return the recent rate, which is this variable at the top here. I want to return the recent rate, which is the variable. Okay. I want to return the recent rate, which is the variable. All right. So let me hit enter here. Let me open a new page and show you how this works, right? All right. I'm going to select the table visual and put something inside here. Maybe I should put, let me just put city. I'm going to put city, or I can put, let me just put country here instead of city. I'm going to put country here, and I'm going to select my sales from my sales table. I have a measure here for sales, which is the sales I have here. And I'm also going to select the new measure that I wrote, which is the new sales conversion. But remember, I'm not done with the measure here. What I'm just writing is just the currency rate. You can see that this is blank. Let me increase the table size so that you can see this. All right, so you can see that the table is blank because there is no currency that was selected. Okay, so now I'm going to bring a currency. So let me bring a slicer and bring a currency, and I'll select different currencies. So you see what this is returning. So I'll select euro, for example. Let me select euro, and immediately I select euro. You can see that this is the recent rate for euro today, which I can actually multiply these sales by to give me the new sales. So if I click on compressor, it will give me the rate of this currency as at today, pound sterling, to give me the rate of this currency as at today, right? If I also click on Danish krona, it will give me the US dollar as well. It will give me the rate of this as at today. All right. Now, I need to complete my measure. And what am I doing with the measure? I just want to multiply the sales with the rates that my measure returned. So if I go back to my measure, I can make an amendment to this. So instead of returning this, I just want to multiply my sales by this. So I have a sales measure, and I want to multiply the sales measure by the recent rate. That's what I'm doing. Now let's look at the table now. So if you look at this table, you can see this has multiplied the sales by the measure. So that is US dollar. Let me click on euro. You notice that the value also changed for euro. Let me look at CFA. The value also changed for CFA, right? So which means that I have successfully created a unique currency conversion. But there's another problem. And what is the problem? Let me unselect a currency. What if my user is not selecting any currency? What is going to happen to my dashboard? Now my sales is going to be blank. And I don't want this. If my user is not selecting anything, then I want this measure to return back these sales. These sales that I can see here, it will return back the sales if my user is not selecting any currency. All right. Now let's go back and amend our measure. To my measure, I can easily amend this return, right? You actually know you can actually add an if condition to your measure to say if the user does not select any currency, then it should not do the calculation. I can put it this way: if the sales multiplied by the recent rate is blank, then it should return the sales. Now, it's a very simple measure to write. So let's add some things to our measure. I'm going to add if to this. If is blank, I'm going to use is blank. If is blank, this calculation that I did, this sales multiplied by recent date is blank. If this is blank, then I want this measure to return back the sales, which is this. But if it's not blank, then I can now go ahead and multiply sales multiplied by the recent rate, right? Then I'll close my bracket for my if. Now, what this is technically doing, anytime my audience is not selecting any currency, then it's definitely going to return back the naira, which is the sales. Okay, now let's look at the table to see what happened here. Now look at this. I am not selecting any currency and I have the same value as my sales. Look at this. I have 211681, I have 711, I have 17. It's the same thing. And immediately I select another currency, this is definitely going to change. The new sales conversion is definitely going to change, and you can see that, right? So what I just need to do, the beauty of this is that I can actually split my currency by different currencies. Some people would like to see their currency instead of selecting it like this, they just want to see it all the currency at the same time, right? So I can remove the sales, leave only this new sales conversion. Let me change this to a matrix visual, and then I'm going to drop currency in my column, currency here, right? Let me unselect this. Now if you look at my table now, you will notice that I have all the currency stated. This is my conversion, and this is converting everything at once, all your value at once. You can see the conversion for everything: Japanese yen, peso, pound sterling. You can see all the conversion at once, all right? And that's the best way to actually dynamically change the currency of your dashboard. If I need to amend the dashboard I already have, I'm just basically going to come here and change the value. So the value I have here before is sales. I will remove all the sales figure and replace that with my new measure that I just wrote. All right. So I'll just come here. I already have this dynamic statement here. So you can look at one of my videos that shows how to actually write a dynamic heading to actually achieve that. So here, I'm going to change these sales. I'm going to remove these sales, and I'm going to put the new measure, which is the new sales conversion for my sales, right? And you can see this. I'm also going to change the sales for this. I'm also going to change this as well. So I have sales here. Let me remove this and change these sales to the new sales that I have. All right. So now if you look at my dashboard, now my dashboard is currently showing in pound sterling. Now let me select euro. This dashboard, everything will change to euro, the conversion of euro. Let me also click on Danish krona. Everything will also change to Danish krona. right? My old dashboard will change with Danish krona. And if I want to see it back in my local currency, I'll just unselect my currency selection, and then everything will be back to my normal currency. This is very efficient that you can actually add to your dashboard so that your user can actually switch between different currency. I can actually click on Canada. Let me see if this also work on Canada as well. So this should work on Canada as well. So once I click on Euro, my old dashboard should change for Canada as well. And then let me also change to Germany. Change my manufacturer as well to maybe natural. So this is how to actually dynamically change the currency of your dashboard. I'm sure you're going to try this in your current dashboard. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to release another content very soon. See you.